The Live Stream Code and Rating Administration has rated this online event PG. All ages admitted. Please be kind and stay on topic.
Classic TV Funhouse with Dave Sundstrom.
Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Classic TV Funhouse. Today I'm going to be talking about the 80s with you. Classic TV from the 80s. It was a decade that was truly fantastic, and there's a lot to celebrate. So how about we all jump in a time machine, called YouTube, of course, and let's go back and just remember some of the great TV. But first, I want to say hello to those folks that have been hanging out for a little bit. Melina Long, welcome to the live stream, says in the 80s you don't have YouTube. Nope. There was no YouTube in 1980. 2005, I think, was the year that I first became acquainted with YouTube. Lila Marabella, merci. So great to have you here. Adrian James, welcome. Ken Wilkinson, good to have you with us. And channel member Tracy Roth-Myers, hanging out, saying hi all. Well, hello to you, Tracy. Always great to have channel members with us. Let's see, Raja 1938 says, live stream, surprise. Yes, it is a Classic TV Funhouse live stream. They're kind of a light lift for me. I play some old-timey commercials, a few of my videos, and talk to you every now and again. I do have a question of the day, and I want to get your answers on that. Be thinking about it. The question is, if you could have one more season of a classic television show, what would it be? Don't tell me now. Don't put anything in the chat yet, because I want to be able to put them all on the screen, and we're not quite ready to do that. Michelle Books, welcome to the live stream. Good to have you here with us as well. So let's go ahead and start this thing off with a bang. I've got a retrospective about some of the great TV shows from the 80s. We'll start there, and I'll be right back. So what are the best TV shows from the 80s? You know, I have my favorites, but Rolling Stone magazine a few years back, this looks like it was 7 years ago, they did a reader's poll, and they asked what were your favorite television shows from the 80s. And here are the results from that poll. Coming in the 10th spot is Night Court. And you know what? I can't disagree with this one at all. I loved Night Court growing up, and it changed a lot over the seasons. They point out that at the beginning, Ellen Foley, who was a singer, a backup singer for Meatloaf, was actually one of the stars. She played Billy Young on the TV show. But later on, of course, she left the show, and we got Marky Post. What a wonderful combination of actors. You know, just that entire cast was ensemble comedy at its very, very best. Moving on to number 9, we have Moonlighting. Here's what I remember about Moonlighting. Of course, it was extremely popular and starred Bruce Willis and Sybil Shepherd. But what I remember more than anything else is the tumult and chaos and arguments that occurred on set, and it didn't appear that Bruce and Sybil got along very well, and as a result, the show did end up declining in popularity by the end of the decade. Number 8, Family Ties. One of my favorite shows from the 80s for sure. I think more than anything else, the thing I remember about Family Ties is that this was the show that Michael J. Fox was on when he just broke out and became a mega movie star. Number 7 is the A-Team. Talk about another breakout movie star from the 80s. Mr. T was everywhere. He wasn't just a movie star. He had, of course, the A-Team, but he also had a Saturday morning children's show. Just a wonderful, wonderful person from what I understand in real life. And the A-Team was a fun show where a lot of mayhem ensued, but not a lot of people were killed. And I actually appreciated that. All right, moving on to number 6. Let's see what we got here. We got Alf. The thing that I remember about Alf was when it was canceled, there was no ending to it, and then they did a television movie that was just absolutely horrible and hopefully is not canon, and I'd like to see them bring Alf back someday and actually give that show a proper send-off. For a very brief period of time, Alf was extremely popular, and as such, the readers of Rolling Stone rated it amongst their top 10 television shows from the 80s. Let's move on to number 5. These are the top 5 shows from the decade. Number 5 is The Wonder Years. I certainly don't disagree with that. I thought that was a wonderful show. You know, it's one of those things that played on the nostalgia of the viewers back in the 80s for the late 60s and then moving into the early 70s. Number 4, Married with Children. This was a program that came in 87, so the tail end of the decade. Really was kind of groundbreaking in the way that it portrayed the Bundy family. It was one of those things where at first glance, and Rolling Stone mentions it here, says that Al and Peg could barely stand each other, but there was a certain sense of love that this family had for each other. At the end of the day, they could be very critical of each other, but they didn't take a lot of guff from others when it came to people being critical of their family. Number 3, Hill Street Blues, a show that I watched quite a bit of during the early 80s. Thought it was a well-done drama, and I really liked the cast. Number 2, Miami Vice. I didn't watch as much of that as I probably would have liked to have. You know what? I think it's kind of dated at this point, but we've got Don Johnson and Philip Michael Thomas. This show made stars out of both of them, and what I remember from Miami Vice was the soundtrack. They incorporated a lot of MTV-style edits. Visually, it was extremely appealing. Number 1, Cheers. Who's going to argue with that? A show that had an incredible 11-season run, as they point out here. So many wonderful characters that you ended up with a spin-off that was as popular, in my mind, as Cheers in Frasier. As time went on and we lost Coach, and we eventually lost Diane, they brought in other actors to play characters that were equally appealing and just as wonderful of any show during the decade of the 80s. I certainly don't disagree with the readers of Rolling Stone when they rank this television program as the top program. Yeah, I can't disagree with that at all. Cheers was one of my favorite television shows during the 80s. I loved the Sam and Diane romance. And I thought Kirstie Alley did a great job when she came in taking the place of Diane as Rebecca Howell. And yeah, it was a great show. But you know who really made the show great? And we just lost him. We just lost him a couple of weeks ago. George Wendt, right? George Wendt was fantastic. And he made the scriptwriters' lives miserable. I should say the character made the scriptwriters' lives miserable because they always had to come up with something crazy for George to say as Norm. Let's go ahead and let's watch some commercials, maybe do a little something on Norm, and then I'm going to come back with my question of the day. Again, welcome to the Classic TV Funhouse. I can't wait to hear what you guys all say in response to the question of the day, but don't put it in the chat yet because I will miss it. I won't see it right now. When I tell you to put it in the chat, put it in the chat. The question, of course, is one more season. One more season of a classic television show. What would you pick? Commercials, a little bit on George Wendt, and I will be right back and we'll tackle the question of the day.
When that sun breaks out, lift up your head and shout, it's gonna be a great day.
Kellogg's waits for you, that spirit comes shining through, promising you a great day. How could you think of starting this bright new morning without your K-double-L? Always double good with Kellogg's, you'll have a great day.
Kellogg's has been making great days for more people for more years with more cereals than anyone. Corn Flakes, Rice Krispies, Frosted Flakes, Product 19. Trust your mornings to Kellogg's.
Very best part of starting your bright new
Saturday, how did Mama and Eunice get busted with the ladies of the night?
Hey, Grandma, God love you. At your age and still at it.
Mama's Family. Then on Teachers Only, who's trying to scare Diana and Sam?
Were you beaten? No. I'm going back to work.
Come on over to our place Saturday.
You got a date, skin's looking great, cause Clearasil's ace, face to face. See you at 8, skin's looking great, CJ's the place, face to face.
Clearasil gives you great looking skin, even close up. Inside, it kills bacteria to dry the pimple.
Clearasil's ace, face to face.
Outside, it soaks up all the excess oil.
Feeling first great, cause skin's looking great, cause Clearasil's ace.
Clearasil, for skin that looks great, even close up.
Face to face.
Just one look at this guy and it all starts to make sense. It's not surprising that Cheers showrunner James Burrows said that actor George Wendt made lives miserable during the making of that classic TV show. So how did he do it? Well, give me just a few minutes and I promise to share all. But first, let's talk just a little bit about Cheers. Fun fact, the show wasn't an immediate hit. The ratings for the first season of the program were nothing to write home about, and if I remember things correctly, there was some concern regarding whether or not the show would be renewed for a second season. On Cheers, Ted Danson played Sam Malone, a retired baseball player who is the main bartender for a warm and inviting bar in Boston where everybody knows your name. Like all great television shows, the entire cast is incredibly good. They're all wonderful, in fact. But I've got to admit that the romantic tension between Sam and waitress Diane Chambers, played by Shelley Long, really made this show something special and so much darn fun to watch. I've published another video about actress Shelley Long. I'll post a link to that video at the end of this one. But it's time. Let's talk about how George Wendt foisted misery upon many of the folks working on the show. I first learned about this while visiting one of my favorite websites, Showbiz Cheat Sheet. It was there where I stumbled across this article, which references an interview with James Burrows on the Smartless podcast where he talked about George Wendt at length. Recalling the very first appearance of Norm, Burrows said that Sam asked Norm, "What do you know?" And Norm said, "Not enough." Now this was never written as a joke, but because of the person saying it and how he looked, it all gelled together and became just this huge laugh, and it made the writers' lives miserable because they now felt obligated to come up with a new Normism every single time he wandered into the bar. Here's an example of a classic Normism. In fact, this is one of my favorites. Here's another one, classic Norm. And as I read this, I can hear both Woody and Norm in my head. On the podcast, Burrows credits Wendt with making Norm so darn beloved as a character. He said it was the winning combination of great writing and the perfect actor. Here's a direct quote. He said, "We took a great part, put a great actor in it, and it took off." You know, as long as we're talking about George Wendt, here are a few other things that are definitely worth knowing. Along with Ted Danson and Ray Perlman, George is one of only 3 actors to appear in all 273 episodes of Cheers. Additionally, George played Norm Peterson on 7 different TV shows: Cheers, St. Elsewhere, The Tortellis, The Simpsons, Wings, Frasier, and Family Guy. And lastly, George is the maternal uncle of former Saturday Night Live cast member Jason Sudeikis. It was George who encouraged Jason to try out for Saturday Night Live. And of course, he's gone on to have massive success with the Apple TV Plus television series Ted Lasso, which is a great show that just has so much heart. Kind of like Cheers in that way. In fact, kind of like George, too. All right. Boy, we're going to miss George Wendt. Just a great, talented actor. He left us too soon, really did. Okay, couple of things. I need you to do me a couple of favors. First thing, if you could hit that like button below your screen there, That does a lot to help promote this live stream so that others can become aware of it. And later on, after it's over, it will promote the replay value of the live stream as well so that others can find it and enjoy it after the fact. So if you could do that for me, I would be, well, I'd be grateful. Also, maybe, just maybe, if you're still looking for something after Classic TV Funhouse to watch, I've got another video that I did with my friend Scott Barnes. It's another episode of Wide World of Sodas. We try Lemonade soda while talking about 80s movies that really, really let us down. So you can see a couple of them there, but we talk about more than that. So please take a moment and watch that video. It's a lot of fun. I always have fun when I bring Scott on with me and we just visit. We're such old friends. So those were the favors. Now, as promised, I have a question for you all. If you could have just one more season of one of your classic TV shows, what one would it be? Now is the time. Go ahead and put it in the chat, and I'm going to put as many of them on the screen and talk about them over the next 5 or so minutes. So one more season. Let me go ahead and take that off the screen. Let me move over to my comment section so I can make these big. And oh my goodness, I see a super chat here that I will get to in just a moment. Let's see. So thank you, Eric, in advance for that super chat, and I will be back to address that shortly. Let's see. Deborah Battle says the Jeffersons should have had the right to an ending or at least a final episode. Totally agree. One more season of the Jeffersons? I mean, we're talking about, these things aren't a reality, right? We've lost a lot of the actors that we probably are going to be, we're going to be talking about shows that they're in, but still, wouldn't another season of the Jeffersons done right be awesome? Michelle Book says the Carol Burnett Show. I don't disagree with that. So many wonderful actors, or I should say the cast members there, the players, Harvey Korman, Tim, Vicky, Lyle Wagner. Oh, I drew a blank on Tim's last name for a second. Tim Conway, of course. That's what happens when you get old. But yeah, I totally agree with you there. Let's see. Bob, was that an 80s show? We're talking 80s today. I want another one from you because Planet of the Apes, which I hear you and I don't disagree at all, but I want to know about an 80s show. One more 80s show. And of course, at least it had to have aired at some point in the 80s. That's all I'm asking. Ernest is asking that. Does it have to be an 80s show? I'm going to put it on the screen anyway, whether it's not. But that's what I'm asking for, is if there was one more 80s television show that you could have one season of, what would it be? Firefly, a great television show. Not from the 80s, but a great TV show. Joss Whedon and Nathan Fillion led the cast there. Really great. Battlestar Galactica was late 70s, but of course Galactica 1980 was in the 80s, and that was our one more season, or was it? It was pretty horrible. Let's see. C. Jones says, oh yes, the Carol Burnett Show. And Cliff Collins agrees with you, Tracy. Firefly would be great. Son of Sofa Man agrees with Tracy as well. Firefly really has a fan base. I have the entire series on DVD. It's only one season. Good stuff for sure. Let's see. Alienation, again later on, not in the 80s, but you know what? Tell me the show, whether it's 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, or even more recently. I want to know, right? I don't want to limit anybody. So Bob, that Planet of the Apes suggestion was a good one, and I'm right there with you. I love that show. Let's see. C. Jones also says a guilty pleasure of mine, designing women with the original cast. One more season is what they would like. 80s show, Dark Room. Yes. Was that the one with James Coburn? I think it was, and that was great. Ernest Cruz says Barney Miller. Great show. Really, that's another one of those shows that is just like the entire cast. They gelled so well. Adrian James, oh my goodness. Adrian, Automan with Desi Arnaz Jr. Kind of, I think it came out. It was a Glenn Larson show, and I think it came out shortly after Tron. So they kind of tried to do some of the special effects that were done in Tron, but they didn't have the budget for it. But oh, that was a fun show. Oh, and another one that I'd love to see another season of, Greatest American Hero. Yes. Olegan says, what about the tripods? We never got a final third series. Now, is that a US show or a show over on the UK? In the UK. I am not familiar with the tripod, so you could tell us more about it if you'd like. Raja 1938 says, here's something different. The Colbys. Okay, another season of the Colbys. Couldn't hurt. Michelle Brooks, yes. One more season of the Golden Girls. Raja 1938 says, loved Automan. Oh, Cliff Collins says that Alienation came out in 1989. I stand corrected. Thank you, sir. Thresh Pondo, channel member, I should say. And thank you for being a channel member, Bob. Channel member Thresh Pondo Pond says, yes, James Coburn was the presenter. Yeah, he was the one that introduced the stories, I remember. Yes, Ernest Cruz says, how about Police Squad? Oh, good old Leslie Nielsen. That was great. And on Saturday morning, one more season of Thundercats. Why the heck not? Ravenscroft 82 says, one more season of V. One more season of V, please. Channel member Thresh Pondo Ponds 2 Olegan says you can blame Michael Gates for that. The monster. So obviously Bob knows what the tripods are. Let's see. Oh, here's a good one too. Yes, Street Hawk with Rex. What was his name? Rick Smith. And channel member Tracy Rothmeyer says Homicide. Oh boy, what a bunch of great suggestions, everybody. What truly great suggestions. I would have loved to have seen. I don't think a single one of the suggestions was one I would be against. And here's another one that I wouldn't be against with Tim Reed, Frank's Place. What a great show that was. And Eric Wahlberg says, Police Squad was so good. Thankful for YouTube that we can watch him again. Yeah. C. Jones says, if anything's possible, the Jackson 5 cartoon show. That one would be more possible because we wouldn't actually, well, it would be nice to have the Jacksons, or at least living members of the Jacksons, provide the voices for the show. But yeah, that would be cool too. And Sakina says, Transformers, more than meets the eye. Yes, indeed. That would be great. Hey, it's Sarah, channel member Sarah, a.k.a. My Flock is Everywhere. Hello. The question, Sarah, should you choose to answer it, is one more season of a show. And I started out asking for 80 shows, but I don't want to restrict anybody. Any show, any classic TV show, if you could have one more season, what show would it be? And Raja 1938 picks one of them that I would probably suggest. One more season of WKRP. Yeah, WKRP in Cincinnati. Bob says, channel member Thresh Pondo Pond says, what the heck? Otherworld as well. Hey, Ron, good to have you with us. I think you probably caught the question. Let's see. Oh, do I ever remember Hardcastle and McCormick? I've got a video on that in just a minute, Adrian, but I want to make sure I get through all of, everybody's suggestions. Sarah says Star Trek, the original series, definitely one of my top 3 favorite shows, along with Andy Griffith and Batman. Love, love, love those shows. Oh, let's see what else we have. Grayman Media says that Street Hawk likely cost too much versus the ratings it generated. True, but this is pie in the sky. If you could have one more season of any show, any classic TV show, what would it be? Come on. One more season. Tell me what it would be. Let me get back to the comments here. Let's see. Ravenscroft 82 says, how about one less season of Galactica 1980 and one more season of Battlestar Galactica? Totally agree with you. And Michelle Books would like another season of the original Gong Show with Chuck Barris, CIA agent Chuck Barris. Yes, you're talking about the new WKRP in Cincinnati, but that really wasn't another season of the original WKRP. Sure, we had original cast members showing up from time to time, and you had, what was it, Les and Frank? Was it Frank Bonner? What was his character's name? The salesman. Again, drawing a blank. They were on the show more frequently, but nevertheless, not a true follow-up. We're pie and skying it, so I'm talking about the version with Gordon Jump and Gary Sandy and Jan Bailey, whatever, Jan Smithers. Roger 1938 says Hardcastle was such a great comeback for Brian Keith. It sure was. The Tripods was a UK show, says Olagan, from the series of books by John Christopher, shows Earth having been taken over by aliens called the Masters, who alter the brains of everyone at 16 to control the humans. Very, very cool. And look who used her members milestone message. You've been a member for 5 months already, Sarah. That is definitely worthy of a whoop whoop. As a matter of fact, it's worthy of a thank you video. What have I got for you? You know, I've been watching this Paul Rubens documentary on Max lately. Let me see. Don't I have something? A little Paul Rubens fun that... I can't find it right at the moment. How about we do some ISIS? Not the 80s, but nevertheless. Oh, here's one. Let's do Ed Grimley. That was the 80s. Okay. Thanks again, Sarah. Thanks for being a member. Did I see something? Grayman says I ignored a comment. I didn't ignore a comment. What happens is that they go by so fast. I just can't see them all sometimes. So I will eventually see it when I go back and watch this on replay myself. But yeah, one more season of Automan. I'm with you on that. One more season of SCTV. Love that. One more season of Emergency. Another season of Buck Rogers, says Adrian James. Tracy Rothmeyers speaks to the many wonderful things about Howard Hesseman. Another season of Bullwinkle. And yes, Herb Tarlick. Thank you, Herb Tarlick. Yes, thanks, Sarah. Hit that like button. Let's share it out. And let's see. I thought I addressed that. Maybe there was another one, Grayman Media. Sorry about that. It's just they go by a little faster than I can control here. Another season of Deborah Battle says another season of China Beach. And channel member Thrash Pondo Pond says, have we said St. Elsewhere yet? We have not, Bob. Let's see. C. Jones says, ever see a show called Codco from Newfoundland? No. With Tommy Sexton and other Canadian greats? I have not. But if you want another season of it today, we're not granting your wish, but we're acknowledging that it would be awesome. Acknowledging that it would be awesome. Now, let me see here. We've got a couple of super chats that I want to get at real quick here. First one is from Eric Wahlberg. Actually, they're both from Eric Wahlberg. Oh, my goodness. Who says, I pity the fool who doesn't vote for another season of the A-Team. We need to sedate Mr. T for one more. plane ride. It's funny because I was actually I write articles for Remind Magazine, the online division of Remind Magazine, and I was taking an old video that I did on Melinda Kulia and converting it into an article for the website. And there's a lot this morning that I was reading about, of course, George Peppard, Mr. T, and, those two didn't always get along. But I would love to see one more season of the A-Team. And hey, why not I know George was never big on having the ladies on the show, but let's get Tia Carrera on that show. She made one spot one guest star appearance, and the idea was that she was going to potentially be joining the show, and she did not. And it would be cool to have her on as a regular for our 6th season of the A-Team. I think there were 5 seasons of that show, weren't there? Was it 4 or 5? And Eric also dropped another super chat. Wow, says Miami Vice was gold. Tone, music, imagery, all on point. My buddy and I even dressed up like our favorite undercover duo, hoping to meet girls at the bar. I hope it worked for you. Oh no, spoiler alert, it did not work. We did not, in fact, meet girls. Well, nevertheless, I'm sure you were very impressive dressing up like Crockett and Tubbs, especially if you did that during the 80s. So got to find a way to say thank you to Eric. I'm going to double shot it here, and let's see what we can do. Let me see what I can find. I found Pee Wee Herman. We'll do Pee Wee Herman and maybe a little Captain Kangaroo, who was pretty darn big in the 80s.
No.
Yeah, watch out for those dreaded ping pong balls. Thanks so much, Eric. That's really cool of you to drop those super chats. Really appreciate it. And let me go ahead and move back over to the regular comments. Let's see. Wise Guy was a great show. Yes, it was. And Gray Man Media says, how about doing not another season, but a full-length movie of your favorite show? That would be, I think we would settle for that. But we're just pie in the skying it. A full season's what we want. But yeah, I mean, if we could get a TV movie to answer a lot of, those dangling chads, those hanging chads, that would be awesome. Let's see. And Tracy Roth Myers, now Good Times was a 70s show, but yes, absolutely. Well, let's have another season of that, and let's bring back all the cast members, living and dead. We need everyone back. Let's see. Oleg Gunn says, on the subject of the 70s TV, what about Blake 7? Yeah, let's go for another season of Blake 7. We got a 4 series. That's what they say over in the UK. Not a season, but you get another series where everyone got sure, but apparently there was going to be a 5th series that was canceled. Sakina McMurrin says WKRP in Cincinnati cast a Herb, Les, Jennifer, Mr. Carlson, Venus, Jan, Gary, and Andy, of course, is who Gary played, and Johnny Fever. Bob. I love it. Planet of the Apes, Land of the Lost crossover. So cool. Grayman Media says, speaking of George Peppard, one more season of Banachek. Yeah, he would have. Only 2 seasons, right? Peppard would have loved another season of that show. He loved it. Let's see. Raja 1938 says, loved rolling up my blazer sleeves like Sonny and Crockett. Let's see. Eric says, super chats are my pleasure, man. You are the positive voice on YouTube. We need that. Thanks again, buddy. Space 1999 only did 2 seasons. Let's get one more. Yeah, the Moose. The Moose was great. Captain Kangaroo. Jefferson's Good Times crossover would have been good. Apes versus Sleestack. Yeah, baby. Yeah. All right. I promised something on Hardcastle and McCormick. We're going to do that. We're going to do some more commercials. And then I'll come back. We'll visit some more. And yes, Son of Sofa Man, more Muppet Show would have made me happy too. We did get a new Muppet Show not too long ago, and man, nobody watched it. So disappointing. So disappointing. All right, let's see what we got going on here. Let me find my media, and let's start right here with Hardcastle and McCormick. Be back. Don't go anywhere. Click on that little thumbs up over there. There, right there. Click that little thumbs up guy. You can do it. Hardcastle and McCormick was a bit of a comeback for Brian, who hadn't starred in a weekly television series for almost a decade.
From out of the blue of the western sky comes an ABC premiere presentation. I'm gonna die! You're not gonna die. The most unlikely pair of lawmen ever to hit the dusty trail.
You're gonna be my fast gun. Do we get to wear a cornball Hawaiian shirt and tennis shoes?
A new breed of crime fighter.
Wise guys rule the world today, but we're gonna step in and sling some lead, kid. Get him up, Scout.
Brian Keith's the ex-judge, Daniel Hugh Kelly's the ex-con. Hardcastle and McCormick.
Coming from the creative mind of Stephen J. Cannell, Daniel Hugh Kelly played an ex-con race car driver who's paired with a crusty retired judge by the name of Milton C. Hardcastle, who's decided that now that he's no longer on the bench, he's going to see that justice is served in other ways. The show ran for 3 seasons on ABC, beginning in 1983. It introduced Brian Keith to an entirely new generation of TV viewers.
Hallå, stanna! Det är en timme alltså.
Looks like you need some help, huh? Do you speak any English?
Nej, svenska. Men titta, om du pekar med någon...
How about a Coke?
Coke?
Drink.
Vad är det för något?
Coke!
Coca-Cola!
Where to?
Oh, just down to the next gas station.
Saturday on WKRP.
I've done thousands of promotions in my day.
But not like this.
Turkeys are hitting the ground like sacks of wet cement.
Tonight on CBS.
Nestle Crunch, the blend of milk chocolate and crispy crunchies that's music to your mouth.
Creamy milk chocolate is the melody. Crispy crunchies are the harmony. The two together are music to munch. Let's hum a few bars of Nestle Crunch. Toe tap and tantalize and happy feeling appetizing. Woo! Nestle Crunch is music, sweet music to your mouth.
A day in the life of a Commodore 64. The Commodore 64. Once you get it, you'll wonder how you got along without it.
You know, whenever I think about classic TV, I immediately think about the Frndly TV streaming service that has over 50 channels, many of them showcasing classic television shows from decades gone by, for a crazy low price. You can try the service free for 7 days by clicking on the link in the description section, and when you do, you're supporting this channel. Thanks. Yeah, I love Frndly TV, my favorite streaming service, bar none. And I can't believe that it's like less than each month. It's less than the cost of a fast food combo meal at Mickey D's. It's crazy cheap. Comes with a cloud DVR. Love it. If you're a fan of classic television, you should really look into that service. Okay, now let's see what's going on here. I want to read a few more comments, and then we're going to watch a video about Stephanie Kramer. Why wouldn't I want to watch a video about Stephanie Kramer? She's awesome. Let's see. Yeah, Ernest recognized Steve Guttenberg in that first commercial for Coke. And Karen, what's her name? Karen, oh man. Was she in It's Your Move? She was in My Tutor. Karen something or other, and I'm drawing a blank on her last name right now. She was in that commercial as well. Ernest also thinks that Jennifer Love Hewitt was one of the girls in that Little Nestle's Crunch commercial. I didn't recognize her if she's there. Now I got to go back and watch it after we're done here. Speaking of the Commodore 64 commercial, yeah, amazing how high tech was back in the day. You know what was amazing to me was it was all at that point, it was just also wondrous. And now we have things like AI, and we all just take it for granted. Nick Mimonis wants to know if Hardcastle and McCormick is streaming anywhere. I don't know if it is. Oh, wow. Speaking of one more season, yeah, another year of Night Flight on Friday nights. I'll take it. And Raja 1938 says, love that Commodore 64 music. It's a classical piece of music. Someone ought to know that. So one of us is culturally refined enough to know what that piece is. Someone tell us what that is. You're welcome, Ward. Always a treat to be able to come in and hang out in the Funhouse for a little bit. Grayman Media says one more season of Due South and Kung Fu. The legend continues. Love the odd connections between those two shows and X-Men, the animated series. I didn't know there was a connection with X-Men, the animated series. Ernest says, in the Nestle's Crunch ad, you had Jennifer Love Hewitt and the girl from Mrs. Doubtfire. Wow. Karen K. Thanks so much, Ernest. Thank you so much. Let's see. Hey, it's Uncle Paul from Uncle Paul's Beatles Pop Playhouse, one of my favorite channels here on YouTube. You should check it out. On the Road? Glad you said hello. Hello to you, my friend. Karen K was her name in the commercial. And It's Your Move. Yes, with Jason Bateman. Let's see. Yes, and she was in My Tutor. I remember that. Gary Carpenter, welcome. Good to have you here. Folks are saying hi to Gary. I love the whole sense of community that happens when we do these live streams. Thanks everybody for hanging out with me today. So as promised, Stephanie Kramer, more vintage commercials. How about a little hair metal? This is a song that I wrote that has been reimagined using the AI music service Udio. Definitely 80s hair metal. So we'll do those things, and I'll be back and we'll talk some more, folks. We will talk some more. Let me go ahead and get the media queued up here. Stephanie Kramer coming up next. I first took notice of Stephanie Kramer in the 80s sitcom We've Got It Made. That show, which starred Terry Copley, ran for one season on NBC and then was brought back to life as a first-run syndicated TV show a few years later. Even though Stephanie was only on We've Got It Made during the show's first season, it was clear to me way back then that we would see more of her. And I wasn't wrong, because before you know it, Stephanie was co-starring with football great Fred Dryer on the NBC crime drama Hunter, where she played Sergeant Rick Hunter's crime-fighting partner, Sergeant Dee Dee McCall. Hunter was another great show from the mind of Stephen J. Cannell. Although the show ran for 7 seasons, it didn't garner great ratings during its first season, and as a result, Cannell invited NBC President Brandon Tartikoff to a special private screening of a 2-part episode that he thought might convince Tartikoff to renew the show for a second season. From what I understand, that screening, along with a little bit of retooling, convinced Tartikoff that the show was worth saving. I've seen interviews with Stephanie where she said that while she hoped the show would have a long run on NBC, she was not expecting it. Along with acting, Stephanie had dreams of making music. She loved singing, and as such, as the show picked up more viewers and got renewed season after season, she found that Hunter's grueling film schedule was starting to become more of a hindrance than a help when it came to achieving her musical aspirations. Determined, Stephanie cultivated a friendship with Mike Post, the composer of Hunter's theme music, and started working on a rock album with him. By the time season 6 rolled around, Stephanie was absolutely exhausted, and because of that, she announced that season 6 would be her last. Ironically, even after her departure, it would take almost an entire decade for Stephanie to finally release her album One Dream. That album is available to listen to on most major streaming platforms. Clearly, it's not the stuff that she was working on with Post, but it's still great, and well worth a listen if you're a fan of Stephanie's. Although Rick Hunter had a couple of different partners during the show's 7th and final season, Sergeant Dee Dee McCall returned to action when Hunter was resurrected for a couple of TV movies and then later a limited run series. So I guess Stephanie really just said goodbye for a little while. And I think those of us who are fans of the show and the actress, well, we're glad that she had a change of heart. As long as we're talking about Stephanie, here's a couple of quick updates. First and foremost, she's still working in the entertainment industry, although these days she writes more than she acts. But you can still see her on screen from time to time. I caught her last year in an episode of 911 on Fox. Also, Stephanie is very active on Twitter, and I've got to say, she is really an articulate, thoughtful, and kind person. I love reading the things that she posts on that social network. It is an absolute joy to skim through her Twitter feed. So there you go. One more picture. This time let's go with the imaginary pairing of McCall and Columbo. Now that would have made a heck of a TV series.
Some special Christmas gifts from Radio Shack.
Okay, we'll open just one.
Radio Shack has an incredible selection of electronic games no one can resist. Like Hungry Monster, Gobble or Be Gobbled in a fast-action maze, or Hold Up, handheld electronic cops and robbers, or Caveman, an exciting prehistoric adventure game.
We were just going to open one.
Irresistible electronic games, $7.95 to $69.95, only at Radio Shack, your Christmas electronics store.
Monday.
They're not invited. Life is weird.
No one has ever been so publicly humiliated.
How will the Square Pegs finagle an invitation to see Devo at Muffy's party? And on Private Benjamin, has Captain Lewis finally captured the limelight? Two great comedies. Monday.
You know what's new? Diet Coke. And you're going to drink it just for the taste of it. Introducing Diet Coke. You're going to drink it just for the taste of it. Living good with Diet Coke. This is the one from Coca-Cola. Tackle the taste with just 1 calorie. Just for the taste of it. Just for the taste of it. Diet Coke.
Because of the following special program, Magnum P.I., Simon & Simon, and Knots Landing will not be presented this evening. All three will return next Thursday at their regular times on most of these stations.
Yeah, I'm sorry about the preemption, folks, but they will return at their regular time. Well, they won't. That was a long time ago. A few more comments, and then we're going to play a game. 80s cereals, forgotten 80s cereals. Let's see if you guys can figure out which ones I'm talking about. Channel member Thresh Pondopon says Square Pegs should have had one more season. That would have been great. I love that show. Ward Arcade says Square Pegs would have been a lot better if the protagonist nerds didn't loathe the cool clique that they were trying to crash. Yeah. But it was such a fun show anyway. Had a really cool hip vibe. Love it. Yeah. Ravenscroft 82 says, no, not Knots Landing. We can't have that preempted. Yes, Judd Hirsch was in that Diet Coke ad. Nice job. Serial killer. Well, we'll see how many of these cereals you can kill, i.e. identify, in just a minute, Bob. Okay. Let's see. What do we want to do? Did I miss something? I did. Let's see. Really? At Dave Sundstrom, Chris Potter, and Camilla Scott. Oh, this is the X thing. The X-Men animated crossover with Due South. And what was the other one you mentioned there? Oh, Kung Fu, the Legend Continues. Okay. Yeah, really. I hey, don't know everything. Matter of fact, I don't know a lot. I do watch TV. Like to watch TV a lot. So anyway, thanks for the comment. Thanks for the engagement, folks. You've all been awesome. Oh, yes, the Misfits of Science. That was a fun show. Totally agree, Gary. Totally agree. Okay, let's see. We're going to wrap this show up in, 10 minutes or so. But as promised, we're going to do a little fun quiz on forgotten cereals of the 80s. And then I'm going to play some commercials because I love playing commercials. And I'm going to come back and give you all a big verbal hug. It's the best I can do after that. So let's do it. Let's play a game. Hey folks, let's have a little bit of fun. I'm going to show you 5 images from forgotten cereals of the 80s, and I'm going to ask you to guess the name of each cereal. Here's the first one. Can you figure it out? It's a tough one. That little rolling pin in the bottom left corner might be a hint.
Time to make the donuts.
Introducing a big idea from a giant in the business, the world's smallest donuts.
Ta-da!
In new Dunkin' Donuts cereal, you get delicious, crunchy little donuts by the hundreds. All your favorite donut shapes, rings, holes, and twists. You can choose rich chocolate or glazed donut flavors, or both as part of a nutritious breakfast. Dunkin' Donuts cereal, crunchy little donuts, great big taste.
Time to eat the donuts.
I know the image is a little bit blurry here, so let me see if I can give you a good hint. This cereal had 50% less sugar than other sweetened cereals.
Know what we like best about your kingdom of half?
Has to be the half-day school.
This is even better.
Then it's Halvesies, my crunchy, sweet new corn and rice cereal.
But half the sugar of most sugar-coated cereals.
How does it taste so sweet?
That's my secret. It's Legree. Now what?
Half a car.
I'm halfway there.
Half a bridge.
Nice work, kids. New Halvesies are a crunchy, sweet part of this balanced breakfast.
I know, they're not getting any easier. This sugared cereal had all sorts of different animal shapes in it. I hope that's helpful.
It's circus fun right in your bowl, and you're gonna wanna come flying. For horses and hoops, balls and bears, elephants and lions.
For me?
Horses, hoops, balls, bears, elephants and lions. New circus fun cereal. Crunchy red hoops, speckled balls, and many marshmallow animals. Circus fun, a spectacular part of this complete breakfast.
Jill, you fixed your own breakfast.
A couple of hints on this one. First, look at the color of this cereal. I think it's dead on. And then also, it came in 2 different flavors, maple and blueberry.
Hi, get along, little blueberry critters, get along.
Aren't they supposed to be doggies, Bill?
Not anymore. I gotta round up all these blueberry-flavored critters to make my blueberry-flavored waffles. Since folks tasted them, I need all the blueberry-flavored critters I can find.
They sure taste good.
Yep, they're like crunchy little blueberry-flavored waffles.
And a good part of this nutritious breakfast, Waffalo cereal.
The most important thing to remember about this cereal is that there was always, always, always a prize at the bottom of the box.
Surprise! All the fun and flavor of Cracker Jack brand cereal can be part of this balanced breakfast.
A Cracker Jack morning. Let's smack it. Get you cracking to a Cracker Jack day. Off and rolling and making crack. Surprise and shine with Cracker Jack.
Cracker Jack cereal. Crispy, crackling puff, loaded with caramel taste, and surprise, a prize in every box.
A Cracker Jack morning. Get you cracking. Get you cracking to a Cracker Jack day. Get cracking.
Alright, I know I said I had 5 images, but here's a bonus image. This cereal isn't exactly forgotten. It was one of my favorites during the early 80s.
Now, it's here. The excitement, the adventure of a new force at breakfast.
We'll call them C-3POs.
New C-3PO cereal from Kellogg's. Twin rings, phase together. For 2 crunches in every double O. A delicious part of this nutritious breakfast. Now you can experience the taste of Kellogg's C-3POs. A crunchy new force at breakfast.
May the force be with you.
Did you get all 5? Oops, I mean 6. Whatever your score was, I'm sure it was great.
There's something out there. It's after kids everywhere. It entices them, confuses them, and can even kill them. That's right. Illegal drugs are everywhere. Cocaine coaxes you in, and then when you least expect it, it grabs you. You're hooked, and it's hard to get away. And have you seen what marijuana does to some people? Oh yeah, you've seen them. Total burnouts. It slows you down. It softens your mind. And in my neighborhood, you need to move quickly and think fast. Drugs. It's a bloody shame.
Holy icicles! In their daily pursuit of justice, our superheroes characters do battle with the world's most evil villains. Where will the next evil villain come from? Maybe you will create them in Post Superheroes Create a Villain Contest.
Grand prize. 9 kids win a one-week trip to Hollywood. They'll have breakfast with these superheroes.
And the villain they've created.
Second prize. 1,000 win bicycles.
Millions will enter, and everyone who does gets Superheroes Puffy stickers.
Details on specially marked boxes of Alphabet, Super Sugar Crisp, Honeycomb, and Pebble cereals. You can draw and paint your villain in the picture provided. 3 different pictures.
Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman and Robin.
3 grand prizes per picture.
The most original villains win.
Holy Hollywood! Post Superheroes Create a Villain Contest. Details on specially marked boxes of Alphabet, Super Sugar Crisp, Honeycomb, and Pebble cereals.
That commercial, those heroes were so horribly drawn. It's just really bad animation. Way worse than what you got on the Hanna-Barbera Saturday morning cartoon Super Friends. But anyway, there you go. Hey, I'm going to ask for a favor again. Couple favors, maybe even 3. First, click that thumbs up button. Please do it. It's always appreciated when you do. And the nice thing about it is that YouTube views that as engagement, and then they promote the live stream or the replay of the live stream afterwards so other folks can see it. Secondly, if you didn't tell me about one more season, or if you have another one that you'd like to share, please put it in the comments section of this live stream. Not in the chat, but in the comments section, as if it were a regular video. You can do that. And then lastly, I mentioned this earlier, but hey, you know what? If you guys would check out my latest video with Scott Barnes, as you know, the newest episode of Wide World of Sodas, where we talk about 80s movies that really, really, really let us down, that would be appreciated as well. Before I head out of here, a couple of things. First off, I got to say thank you to all of my channel members. You're all just fantastic. Thank you so much for that level of support. I had a lot of fun over the weekend visiting with you in a channel member only live stream. And, you know, the nice thing about those channel member only live streams are I don't miss any of the comments because typically there's only 5 to 10 people there with me. It's a really informal get together and we just visit. We just visit for a half hour to 45 minutes. And anyway, you're all appreciated. We've got folks that have been channel members going on 5 years now. Just crazy. The level of support that this channel gets, and it really is appreciated. Okay, with that said, let's get Fred Rogers in here to sing us out of here. It's Hump Day, folks. I hope the remainder of your week is awesome. Thanks again for joining me today. Take care.
You are special.
Click on that thumbnail cause it's time to go. Dave's got the classics, let the memories flow. TV shows and movies that we all hold so dear. On his YouTube channel he's keeping memories near. Dave Sundstrom, bringing back the good stuff, oh yeah.